please make sure you check out our friends at PlayAsia, the #1 site for Japanese games and merchandise.
Now, Street Fighter V is one of the more interesting examples of censorship in recent times. Whilst for most games, censorship consists of differences that can be found in certain regions or platforms, Street Fighter V has been repeatedly toned down for objectionable content both during development and then following release via updates, which means that the censorship is applicable to all versions. The first case of censorship made headlines all across the gaming media. During the beta phase of the game's development, it was noticed that Armika no longer gave her butt a playful slap during her critical art. Instead, the camera has been repositioned higher up, simply cutting it out of view, despite her performing exactly the same motion. You can even still hear the slapping noise. This was not all though. A similar change was made to Cammy's scene at the start of the match, where she jumps into battle. Somebody thought that being able to see an upskirt shot of her nether region was too much, and the camera now cuts this out just the same. Outraged at the seemingly unnecessary changes, fans demanded answers from Capcom, to which they explained they were due to it being a teen-rated game and there being rating issues. See for yourself in this interview with Capcom's senior product manager.
And we are a teen-rated franchise, so we want to make sure that we keep that appeal to a very wide audience. We thought maybe in those instances things could have been pushed just a little bit too far, so we had to tone it down just slightly. But we want to make sure that Street Fighter remains a family-friendly franchise, and it's just that delicate balance that we play, ensuring that we remain a teen game.
This explanation brought nothing but even more confusion though. Those of you familiar with the game will know that these changes were made despite there being tons of saucy content still in the game that was left untouched. Series producer Yoshinori Ono came in to clear things up, and at last revealed that these edits were being made not due to rating issues but due to not wanting anything that could be seen as offensive in the game. This still doesn't clear up how hypocritical some of the stuff still being in the game is though, but then again, the tale of Street Fighter V's censorship is far from over. Prior to release, people spotted something really unusual going on with some of the female character models over on Player 2's side. Pay close attention to the breast bouncing motion and how it compares with Player 1's. Quite the difference, right? It seems like the second player's boobs are made of helium or something. Capcom explained that this was the result of a glitch, but when release day came around, nothing had been changed. Player 2's breast still bounced around like a pair of pogo sticks. It wasn't until months after the game's launch where this was suddenly patched out, leaving them just as motionless as Player 1's. If it was the result of a glitch, then this action would of course not be classed as censorship, but it was felt as important to mention, especially with all of the other acts of toning down sexual content in Street Fighter V. You see, boobs were toned down yet again following a release in a whole nother way, taking things back to the character select screen where it's much easier to notice. One aspect of Cammy's chest was completely removed in a later update. As you can see in this comparison, the bumps of her nipples were removed, and this affects her model during matches as well. No statement has been given on this change, and there were seemingly no complaints from anybody about this prior to the change. Jory is another female fighter that has come under censorship controversy. This one is a bit different though. The character made her first appearance in Street Fighter V in a 2D illustration in the game's story mode. This was the only time she was seen until a later update which added her to the roster as a playable character. However, notice the drastic alteration made to her character design. Whilst the original outfit exposed her cleavage, this section has now been coloured in black. Now, illustrations do not always match up perfectly with how characters look in game, but what makes this even more interesting is that one of her costumes in the previous game, Street Fighter 4, looks extremely similar to the 2D design. So this outfit is in no way out of place for her character. Was it censorship, or was it done due to artistic choice? We may never know, but the next point adds a lot of credibility to the censorship side, and possibly even offers an explanation for all of the other changes made to the game. EVO 2016, the #1 destination for esports in fighting games, reached new heights with it being the first time for the tournament to be broadcast on TV's ESPN, this being a major milestone for not just the fighting game community, but the whole of esports. However, this came with a sacrifice. The event now found itself in the palms of television executives, and I'm sure you could understand the type of problems that could come with this. Street Fighter V was the only game to be broadcast on the channel, and the tournament had already run into resistance from the bigwigs at ESPN. One player faced issues partway through the tournament, Whilst his competitor was allowed to fully focus on the match, R-Mika user Fudo had been told he would not be allowed to wear the costume used for his previous matches, and that he would have to choose a different outfit. Apparently somebody at the ESPN didn't approve of Mika showing so much skin, as told by one of the tournament's Japanese interpreters. You can see the difference in attire here. This is from the first set of matches with R-Mika wearing her regular chest-popping outfit, and then here's what she wore for the following matches. It's not in any way proven, but perhaps this is why Capcom made the changes they've made. Also, what would have happened if Mika didn't have a less revealing costume? And what does this mean for fanservice heavy fighters such as Dead or Alive? Only time will tell, but to just finish the video with something that adds heaps to the whole contradictory factor to the game's changes. And something I'm sure you'll all find rather amusing. Ever pay attention to the girl in the background of Guile's stage? She performs a rather interesting gesture with her hand and mouth. And to think a girl slapping her butt was deemed too much, whilst another inciting oral sex was not. Thank you for watching.